The first song we started with our song Face, which is the first song on our first EP, which is like one of our more kind of like hardcore sounding songs. And this dude who's like right next to me has like super long hair. He like headbangs, like literally like first 3 seconds of the first song, his hair gets caught in my guitar.
Nice.
This is and like he like literally like I'm trying to get it out and I'm like still playing, and then he just ends up ripping his hair out, and it's just like fuck yeah. And it's like like after the song I was like, dude, are you okay? He's like, yeah, this is great.
He's got blood running down his face.
It was like it was crazy.
Welcome to the 162nd episode of the Cast That Ends Creation. I'm your host, Chris Deering. This is the show where I interview bands and public figures from the mathcore adjacent community. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, do all the things social. Every little bit helps. And feel free to join us every Sunday and Wednesday for the live cast, where you can interact with the guests in real time, or just hang out with us in the chat. You can also sub to this channel for just $5 to get access to the interviews before they hit YouTube and other streaming platforms, as well as get some exclusive emotes. You can also do that for free by attaching your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. It's like taking $5 from Jeff Bezos' pocket and putting it into mine. With that out of the way, let me introduce our guest today, who dropped their new album, their debut album actually, God's Country, back in July through the Flintzer. Welcome in Luther of Chat Pile. How's it going?
Going all right. How's it going with you?
Dude, I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing great. So what do you do in Chat Pile?
I play guitar and co-write the instrumentals for everything. Don't really do any lyric stuff, but yeah, just part of the instrumental songwriting core. Okay. With myself and the bassist and the drummer.
Okay. Yep. I do have to mention, you go by the name Luther Manhole, and all of you have wild names. We got Raygun Bush, Captain Ron, and Sten. What's up with the nicknames? Why not just use your real name?
It was more just like when we first started the band, obviously we didn't even think anyone would care. And Raygun, our vocalist, was like, I want to do punk names. I want to, if we're going to do like a weird kind of punky band, like, we like Dead Kennedys and stuff, or, there's plenty of bands that have had, members with pseudonyms. So I just, I picked this. It's actually a reference. There's a comedy guy, this dude, Longmont Potion Castle, and Luther Manhole was like a fake name that he used in that. And so, I mean, again, I didn't expect anyone to ever care about our band. So it's kind of just like, yeah, fuck it. I'll just use the name Luther Manhole. And now it's like, written in print and stuff. So it's like, it's permanent, I guess. So
do you wish that you could go back to like your regular names?
No, I like having the pseudonym. It's more just like, I probably would have I don't know, Luther Manhole's fine. It's just like, I might've thought about it a little harder if I knew it was going to stick, but it is what it is. So.
I guess it's just like with the black metal bands or whatever.
Yeah.
Like Norway did or whatever. You're Euronymous or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
So you released your first EP, This Dungeon Earth, back in May of 2019. I assume you guys took a minute to write that. So when did you all come together? Like just 2018, I'm assuming?
So basically we started the band in February of 2019. That's when like we first ever like jammed at all. So we were doing like a board game night, which kind of like turned into a bad movie night. And myself and the bassist both, we have kind of similar taste in music, and neither of us had been in bands for a little while. And I kept kind of pestering him about it, just saying, hey, we should like jam sometime, because it'd been like a few years since either of us had been in a band. And then, yeah, I went over to his house, and we put a little like just drum machine garage band loop on, and he played this bass line that he had written, which was the bass line for Dallas Beltway, which is like one of our bigger songs. And I was playing some like kind of Jesus Lizard riff over it. And then we were like, hey, this kind of sounds cool. And that was just in February of 2019. And then, yeah, we asked his brother, Captain Ron, our drummer, we asked if he wanted to like come play drums. And then, yeah, basically just from February to May, we wrote and recorded it, and recruited our buddy Raygun, and he did some really cool vocal stuff, and we're like, hey, this is actually kind of neat and interesting. So, and yeah, we just self-released it in May. Yeah.
So
just
you
like
got it all together in 3 months?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, we did the first. Yeah, we like the songs that were on "Remove Your Skin," like the second EP. We were all kind of writing all that stuff at the same time. So we put out like a comp that has through Reptilian that has the first two EPs on it.
Okay.
Like on the side A is the first EP and side B is the second EP. And we kind of like, even though God's Country is like our debut, we kind of like view those first two EPs kind of like that was our first album, because we wrote it's 8 songs, we wrote them all at the same time, and
Right.
it's all on one thing, so it's not really an LP. It's kind of like how certain bands have comps that kind of act as an LP, but yeah, it did come together pretty quick right away, just this first collection of songs at least.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. That's crazy. And so like you guys have just like kind of rocketed to success like pretty quickly then. I remember hearing about you guys back whenever these were coming out.
Yeah, it's been super weird because we haven't really done much promotion, and we weren't really in other bands that people knew really, so it really just feels like it kind of came out of nowhere. We just got lucky with people like the Needle Drop or stuff like that, picking it up. And yeah, it's been very surreal and weird that anyone cares about our band. I'm grateful though. It's awesome.
Well, one thing that most likely helped a lot is the split with Portrayal of Guilt. Like, yeah, that's fucking crazy that you were able to get on a split with them. How do you know the guy? How do you know them?
So Matt, their front man, he heard us on Spotify. We came up in his algorithm, basically. Our song, he told me the song Mask, which is like the second song on our second EP. He was like in his playlist, and he was like, what the fuck? And like he heard it, and he said he instantly went to Instagram and like found us and DM'd us and was like, hey, we should play shows together sometime. And that's pretty much it. So then
he was like, fuck yeah, I'll play shows.
Yeah, that happened like we ended up, I can't remember the exact first show. We ended up meeting up with them right before like lockdown started. So we played with them in Houston and in Baton Rouge. This would have been like March of 2020, like right before, like a week later, I think it's when like everything shut down. And then, yeah, just over the summer, we talked about maybe getting together because we really hit it off with them. We liked hanging out with them. We had a lot of shared interests, and I would say they're all our friends now. We've toured with them a couple times now and played random shows with them, and yeah, they're just great dudes. And yeah, we got together and went down to Denton, Texas, and recorded that split together. We just went down the same day because they're from Austin and we're in Oklahoma City, so we kind of just met halfway in Denton. And yeah, it was really cool. It's again, weird, lucky thing that we just were in the Spotify algorithm, and Matt heard it and was like, I want to play with those guys. And it's kind of funny. Our bassist and I had, gone to a Portrayal of Guilt show together a year before the band even started. So it's like, it was very weird. Like, hey, we went and saw them play, and then like now a year later we're playing with them and doing a split with them and stuff. And yeah, they're great though. I loved both of the records they put out recently, and they just finished like a big tour in Europe, which is crazy. Like,
oh yeah, they're blowing up like crazy too, and like you guys are right behind them, especially with this album. So yeah, now you're back with your debut album, God's Country. What would you say is different this time around than I guess the two EPs? Did you consider that your first full length?
Yeah, I think we just spent. It's more that we just spent more time on this than the EPs, because like I said at the beginning, we really went pretty quick.
Oh yeah, you
writing that stuff, and because we were just like, hey, let's just fuck it, let's just write some songs. And so, but then both of those came out in 2019, and even though we put out that split, that was just one song with Portrayal. So really, it's like between 2019, it took a couple of years for us to even write it and make it. We self-record, so it just definitely more like meticulous about it, that we weren't really when we were doing the EPs. But yeah, I think that's probably the main difference. I mean, it's maybe a little less funny if the older stuff was funny, because we have like the Arby's lines. I mean, there's still a song called Grimace Smoking Weed JPEG on it. So
I mean, Grimace has a demon in one of the songs.
Yeah,
so I think continuing the comedy well enough.
But I do just think it's maybe just a little like in general like darker overall than the EPs. But the EPs are also like rougher sounding, maybe a little heavier. So it's kind of just I feel like it's just more a little bit more formed fully, and like I think it's a pretty good extension of what we were trying to do on the EPs, just in a in a more cohesive package or whatever. But I'm happy with how it turned out though, and we're already writing more stuff. So
Oh shit! Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
So how did you hook up with the Flintzer? I didn't even know that was a label until I looked into you guys, and that's like a really big label, I guess. So like
they have a lot of really there's a lot of really awesome stuff on the Flintzer, and they a couple of people in Elizabeth Color Wheel, which is an awesome band. Everyone should listen to Elizabeth Color Wheel. They have an album called Nocebo, which is awesome. But they heard us and literally went to the label and was like, hey, you should contact these guys in Chat Pile. They should be on the label. And so they emailed us, and that, I mean, again, it's just another weird thing where someone just contacted us. Like we didn't really do it, like, and it was a good deal that they offered. And I love, like, Kyodot is one of my favorite bands ever, and they've put out a lot of Kyodot stuff.
I didn't know that was their label. Okay, or like the label that puts their stuff out.
Yeah, some stuff. I think the most recent one did not come out through them, but yeah, like, and Boston Nog, which is like an awesome black metal band, and yeah, I don't know. It was just, it seemed like it made sense. There's lots of with like stuff like Have a Nice Life or Planning for Burial, like the other bigger bands on the label. Like it seemed like a bunch of bands that were making like weird kind of heavy music that was like either self-produced or lo-fi or DIY. So it kind of like fit what we're doing, which is also like weird heavy music that we self-produce and do all DIY. So it just yeah, I really I'm grateful that we were able to link up with them. So we're gonna do another album with them too. So
oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yep. I do have somebody that sent me a comment asked me to ask you a question. They want to know your usual Waffle House order. This is from Bishop Martin, by the way. He's in a cool band called Rat Punch.
Yeah, I mean, I would totally get the all-star special. You get it, and I do over easy hash browns, just regular hash browns. I don't do the smothered, covered, and all that stuff.
Okay.
But you get the waffle and the over easy, dip the toast. That's probably the standard. That's like my standard diner order anywhere. But like, at Waffle House, it's like $7, and you're also getting like a giant waffle with it too. So I'm definitely pro Waffle House.
I had my first Waffle House actually about like a month ago, like from that.
Wow.
And it was interesting. I got that order pretty much exactly actually. I want to try smothered and covered hash browns though. That sounds good. And what's the one with the jalapenos on it too? There's like
I don't know. There's all kinds of names. Yeah, there's names for like good. Everything. Yeah, I love Waffle House. It's like a staple of like, at least around here, there's not a ton of diners in Oklahoma City. So like, there's Waffle House. So you go to a show and then it's like 2 a.m. Or like 1 a.m. and you're like, man, I'd really like to get something to eat. Just go to Waffle House.
Right. There's nothing else really open. I guess sometimes there's McDonald's. I don't know how late they stay open there, but it seems like everything else is after that. Brandon Dowdy in chat, he's a drummer for Serling, another awesome band from Maine.
Oh, cool.
He's saying that your album's album of the year for the Serling boys, without a doubt.
Awesome. Thank you.
So yeah, how would you describe your music? Like what genre would you put it under?
I'd say we're a noise rock band, probably first and foremost, but yeah, I don't know. We listen to a lot of different stuff, and we get called a sludge metal band too, I guess, or but I don't know. I'm playing. I listen to a lot of noise rock stuff, and I play very loose with how I play guitar, and I play a lot of the same strings, and very high gain distortion. So, it's just super low tuned. Like we're playing in baritone tuning, or like drop A, or on one song on the album it's in drop G, so it's like kind of like corn tuning, which kind of we get some people say new metal about us in some ways as well.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I have a Deftones tattoo on my legs. So,
Okay. Well, no, it's not like it's a bad thing. I would
yeah.
not have thrown the new metal in.
It's in a couple songs, but yeah, I'd just say noise rock. But I don't know. We listen to a lot of different stuff. You know, we're all pretty obsessed with alt rock and indie rock too, and post hardcore and post punk or even dream pop, new wave. Like I feel like I put a little bit of like new wavy chords and some stuff as well, and I like to do the spacey riffs a little bit. But
That
at
is
the end of the day,
big thing
yeah.
I've noticed. Yeah, you have a really strong atmosphere in a lot of
Yeah,
your
I
songs.
like to do Failure and Cave In are both two pretty big bands for me, and they are both like kind of spacey post-hardcore stuff. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's kind of just noise rock. You know, we're playing that type of stuff, and we're just making it a little, I guess, a little sludgy, like a little metal tinged, I guess.
Okay. So I'm new to noise rock. I really want to get into this shit because I found a lot of awesome bands that are labeled noise rock. So
Yeah.
So send me your recommendations after this. But
Yeah, for sure.
as someone from like hardcore metal like perspective, I would say you guys kind of remind me of like later Fear Before the March of Flames, like
Hey.
Always Open Mouth kind of
That's
stuff.
one of my favorite albums of all time. So that's a
Dude,
nice
it's a fucking
compliment.
sick album.
Yeah.
But yeah, that mixed with like later Daughters and like some Death Goals. Have you heard of Death Goals?
I haven't heard them, no.
You should check them out. It's a really dark
Okay.
hardcore band. They have like kind of the same atmosphere as what you guys have
Sweet.
going for you. What about Tunic? Have you heard of Tunic?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and you guys sound a little bit like Tunic or whatever. Again, because I don't know most noise rock, they're the only ones I can really think
Yeah.
of. So, yeah, but it's fucking dope, dude. I love that type of
Yeah,
stuff.
no, Tunic's sick.
I
I grew up. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good.
I was to say, I definitely grew up going to hardcore shows and punk shows. That's kind of more my wheelhouse. And I just got super in like grind and stuff, and then from there like death metal. But like for me, like Converge and Botch were two huge bands for me. I try to bring a little bit of that, but we're not super mathy in our band. But I like to throw in some of the Kurt Ballou riffs occasionally. I pepper them in a little bit within reason, but we're just not really too techie in our band. But that stuff definitely is an influence for me, at least in like writing leads and rhythms and stuff. But,
I would say you're at least adjacent.
yeah.
Have you heard of a band called Pretty Mouth?
Yeah, they're from the Northeast.
Too.
Yeah, are they from Connecticut?
I'm
yeah,
not sure. I kind of thought they were Midwest, but maybe I'm wrong.
They
now
kind of
I'm wrong.
they definitely were like in that wave of, they like really reminded me of like Hell Songs era Daughters type stuff. But yeah, I haven't really ever heard anyone else mention Pretty Mouth. So
dude,
yeah,
so
that's
fucking sick. They're so
that album's called like Fears or something, I think is the name of that album.
Sounds right.
It's cool. It's definitely heavier. It's like more on like the metalcore or hardcore side of that type of thing. But yeah, no, that album's cool.
And what really like connected me to it is the clean vocals. It's like, for me, it's weird hearing this kind of music with like basically spoken word over it through like Y'all's album. And I think it's awesome. Like, it really adds to the atmosphere. He makes his voice sound like he's in pain. Like, it sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like he's going through the stuff that he's talking about on the album. Like, it's so weird. And the way that I really, really love the lyrics on this album. Like,
I do too. I think he did a great job.
The way that he repeats certain lines and like subtly changes the line to where like it doesn't mean the same thing, but it sounds the same. I don't know. It's hard to describe. People that are listening to this probably think I'm crazy. You need to go read the lyrics as you're listening to this, and you'll understand. As you listen to the album, you'll understand. Where did he get the idea to do like basically spoken word over it? Like, is that just a thing that's common in noise rock, or is this like his own thing?
I mean, it was more just like it's kind of just the style that made sense for him to do. It wasn't really like, I'm gonna try and do something different. It's just more like Reagan, our vocalist, like he has an encyclopedic knowledge of music and stuff, and he knows so much about everything, but he like I said, he doesn't really listen to metal or anything like that, though. Like he doesn't, he's not really into that type of stuff. So it was more just he wasn't coming from it like already having like kind of the tropes of those genres drilled into his brain. So it's I would say it's less spoken word just because like he is like still like doing stuff on the, it is kind of more like a sing talk. I know that's probably like splitting hairs.
Right. No.
It is on like, it is in rhythm and stuff.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he will like sing sometimes as well, or like yell. But I think it's just more that's just the style that just like kind of naturally came to him with, he wasn't ever going to do like just super like, growly death metal stuff. Sometimes he'll slip some of that stuff into our stuff, but like that was just never going to be the primary way. He wants people to understand his lyrics, and and I don't know. I think it really is a kind of a key that kind of sets us apart a little bit. I think it sounds, really cool. I think he has a really unique style, at least, for the type of stuff we're playing, at least,
Right.
I love it.
Overall, dude, the album is so fucking good.
Thank you.
Like, I'm not just saying this. You're probably at #1 for me so far for this year.
Oh, awesome.
Like,
thank you.
It's so fucking good. It's the type of stuff that gets me inspired to go write music myself. You know what I mean? And like,
thank you.
I don't know. It's that's kind of a hard thing to come across. You know what I mean? So yeah, excellent stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. We worked really hard on it, and it's just like I said, we're gonna make more. So we've just been gearing back up to like kind of start writing together again, because we kind of like, since the album came out, we're kind of like, okay, let's kind of decompress for a little bit, because we went so hard with like writing and recording and getting ready to put it out, and then we just did a tour in May, so it's just, we took a little break, and now it's like, okay, let's start writing some more stuff and get ready for some more shows. And yeah.
Guy couldn't tell you in chat says that it almost brought him first time they so much emotion. Yeah, that's totally, totally how I felt.
When Ray does his performances, he just like, I mean, a lot of the stuff isn't autobiographical. Like I think some people confuse that, but he's able to just like, because it's a lot of like character songs. Like he does like something from the perspective of someone a lot of times. Some stuff isn't. Like Why is not a character song. Like that's him just being very blunt, I would say.
Oh, it's such a good
like
song.
A song like Why.
So the whole time it's like, yeah, man, fucking go off, King.
Yeah. But I mean, he does like, I mean, he really just goes for it. When we did the Grimace, which that song has like the big, like, super long outro where he's just like losing it. Like, I mean, we only did that like once or twice, because I think he was just like, no, I don't really want to do that again, because it's like super intense, like he's like really putting himself into it. And it's like, it's hard to like be like, okay, do it again, like just to do another take, like
take 3,
just go, lose your mind again. And like, but no, he does a great job. And I think, he's just able to really bring it out. And I'm glad that other people are connecting with it and stuff, because I think he does a really great job. So.
And not to like, put what you're doing down, like the fucking
no,
the
fine.
atmosphere is so good. It's super dark. It matches perfectly with like what he's talking about. So like, yeah, I feel like everything just works together so fucking well on the album.
Thank you. Well, thanks.
So recording process. First of all, on track 8, if I don't care if I burn, what's the sound of that at the beginning? Like sticks being dragged across the floor, or what is that?
It's like tape, like packing tape being messed with, and it's also I think like a crumpled up beer can that's being like kind of crushed and dragged along the ground. We had the floor mic'd, so like Ray was on like a drum throne, and he was mic'd and kind of like stomping his foot for like the beat of it. And then we did like another like kind of noise layer over it, which was kind of just like fiddling with stuff in our practice space and our studio. And it was mainly like tape and dragging the can across and just kind of like pattering and using your nails to kind of tap on the ground and stuff. It was all just like weird stuff like
so
that.
Wild. How do you think to do random stuff like that?
Well, for that, it's not, eventually it'll be out in a way for people to listen to it. But right before we started like writing and recording stuff for the album, we did a movie score for just a local indie movie that's not out. It's screened, but like I think maybe it'll be eventually able to be seen, but eventually we'll put that music out. But I bring it up because that was like way more like atmospheric and like noise stuff and more like textural stuff like that. And so we definitely wanted to like do at least like one little thing like that. And that song specifically, Ray, our vocalist, had already like kind of had a demo for. Like he had kind of, that was like an outtake from a solo. He does a lot of like singer songwriter kind of solo acoustic work, and that was like an outtake from that, and then we just like redid it. But we just kind of had the like, when we were doing the score, we were doing some like weird, like sound collage type stuff like that, or just like field recording stuff like that, just messing with random sounds. And there is a little bit of that in other places on the record, like at the end of Wicked Puppet, there's like a noise kind of outro, and that's like the frogs outside, and our vocalist, he's like walking his dog, so you like hear like the leash and stuff. That's like on the record. But there's a little bit of that kind of stuff peppered in there. I think we kind of, I don't want to say more of like the texturally noise stuff, but I think we do want to do more like connecting, noise and atmospheric pieces between songs, maybe on the next album as well. Maybe we're kind of talking about that because I liked doing some of that sample stuff this time. But
that would be cool as like an outro bleeding into an
yeah, there's more stuff like that.
Idea.
Because it happens a few times on God's Country, but it'd be cool if we did that a little more. So
I thought that the sound on track 8 was like matches or something being scraped across because it's I don't care if I burn. So I was thinking like, oh, that's probably what's being scraped. But that's so interesting. Like you just had a can and you're just like, let's fucking scrape this across the floor.
Yeah, I think it's just see what sounds good. And right. that was like the track that definitely came together the quickest, just because there's really not that many parts to it. I mean, it's him doing, it's kind of like a lullaby, and it's like him doing that kind of a cappella, and then us just doing a couple panned noise tracks, and then that was it. And that song kind of works as like an intro to the last song, Grimace, in my opinion. Like, even though it's kind of like even though it does have the kind of jump scare in it, it like, I feel like it kind of works as like a moment to cool off and like set up before the final song, which is like 9 minutes and pretty punishing to listen to. So
how do you do that live? Do you just have a backing track that pipes that sound in, or do you not do it live?
We haven't done that song live. Not Burn. We haven't done that one live. And maybe we've talked about eventually trying to figure something out like to do it, but yeah, we haven't done that one yet. We've played Grimace live, but we cut off the 4-minute drone outro.
That was my next question, was like if you ever did Grimace. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because I can see how intense that is, just like every night for like your vocals.
Yeah, it would have been too much for him, and also it's like it's all like visual cues for that like drone part, because it's like so slow that it wouldn't be fun for anyone. The audience wouldn't have a good time watching that.
I mean, watching your vocals go insane would be pretty fucking
maybe.
sick.
Yeah. But yeah, we have been playing like the main part of that song though, and just like transitioning into an older one. We found like kind of a slick way to do that. But yeah, haven't played Burn yet live.
So this was self-recorded, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Nice,
yep.
Man. How was the process of recording? How long did it take you to get this?
Like, we started in like March of 21 and finished in August. So April, May.
Okay, not
it
too
took
bad.
like 6 months. It took like 6 months to write and record.
Oh, to write and record? Damn, dude, that's fast, dude. Holy shit.
I mean, we had some stuff that we had been working on from like, Wicked Puppet and Pamela. At least like the seeds of those had been we'd been working on for a couple of years. But yeah, we basically finished that soundtrack at the beginning of 2021, and then just we would come to our little studio, and we just like, okay, we're gonna work on this riff, because like, we'll have like a riff that either myself or our bassist has kind of brought, and then we write through jamming, and we track live. Like, we don't individually track. So we basically just took a riff and played it like, let's just play this for like 8 hours, and then, do that a few times a week. And then eventually that turns into a song. And then, yeah, we would just, myself, the drummer, and the bassist would play all at the same time, and we'd record that bass track of like guitar, bass, and drums. And then I would do like a guitar overdub over it. And then once we have that, we give that to our vocalist, and he's there when we're doing, the writing, but then that gives him like the thing to like fully write his vocals over.
Right,
But then just repeat that. So I mean, it was kind of like a lot of times, people go to the studio and they record their album in like a week, but they spend longer writing it, and then you like go into the studio and you just like knock it out in a few days. But basically, we were writing while we were recording over the course of like months. So it was a lot of just like playing a song like literally like 500 times, or just like over and over and over again, trying to get that perfect bass track that we could then turn into the song that would be on the album. But so it worked well. I mean, that's just how we know how to do it. We're not professionals, and none of us went to we're using free plugins on Reaper. Like, it's like,
dude. I use Reaper too, man. Reaper.
Yeah. So it's just like, we're not like professional sound engineers or anything. I think our bassist, he does all of our mixing and stuff. I think he did a great job, but all of our stuff has been self-recorded and self-produced, just mainly because it's way cheaper, and it's super expensive to go record in a professional studio a lot of the time. And
right, you also get like exactly like perfect control over like the sound.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too, is that you also definitely get more kind of, it's if you're doing it yourself, it's all you at that point, so we do have it mastered by someone else though. We sent it this dude Jared, who he's in a lot of cool bands out in Pennsylvania, and we hooked up with him because he produced this early Jesus Piece EP, and I really like, myself and the bassist in our band, we both really like Jesus Piece, and thought the production on that was sick, so we just hit him up, and he mastered all of our stuff so far, because I don't even really know what mastering is. I guess it's EQing and like volume adjustment and making it sound more dynamic. I guess, like, I don't know,
it wider and stuff.
I know that you like I don't know. We sent him a mixed version, and then he did something that made it sound better. But
okay.
Yeah,
I did want to ask, because as soon as I heard the album, the first thought was, whoa, those drums sound weird. And like,
yeah.
I don't know if it was if it's just like how it came about, or if it was an intentional thing, but you guys put a lot of reverb on the drums and make it sound like it's kind of like further away, whereas most like bands, I guess I'm talking more like in the hardcore metal sense or whatever, the drums are almost like the loudest thing in a song, and like the bass drum specifically, like you can feel it in your chest every time it hits. But you guys like didn't put as much emphasis on that and put it back a little bit more. Like I said, is that an intentional thing to try to open up the space, maybe, or like was that just like how it happened, like just what happened?
It's more also just because we record using like an E-kit, so they're not real drums. Like, it's not programmed drums. Our drummer is playing an E-kit through MIDI into the interface,
sure, but like there's so much reverb on.
Oh no, there is. It's just, that's just part I was getting to. That's part of like the patches that we're basically using for our snare and drum sound. Since they're not, it's not an actual snare and actual bass or actual cymbals. Like we kind of make them more affected sounding and stuff. But yeah, I mean, we wanted it to be. It's kind of that like Cocteau Twins sound is kind of what we're going for. Like Cocteau Twins or Godflesh. That's definitely like the kind of drum sound we're going for. More that like mid 80s type of drum production, like electronic drum production. Okay. More in that, like I said, like, like the dream pop and like new wave style drum production. That's kind of what we're going for, more so. Because yeah, it isn't really as metally, I guess, but it's just because we're doing since it is like electronic and like it's overtly electronic, it's not really trying to, it's not like sounding like triggered drums and like a deathcore band or something like that.
I thought they were real drums, honestly. I totally.
But yeah, it is an E-kit. It's just like some cheap Roland E-kit. That we just use some
That's
free
really
plugins
interesting
for.
because it does make the album sound like it's bigger and like the space is, I don't know, like there's
Yeah,
more room or whatever. I don't know. It's hard to explain exactly, but it
I think
like
some
a
of
lot
that.
of modern metal. It's like it wants to be right up in your face the entire time, and like it can get kind of suffocating, I guess, sometimes, and like that's
Yeah,
why it's like so heavy or whatever. But like you guys took this different approach to like opening up the atmosphere and like just making it dark sounding. I don't know. The drums I feel like played a big part in that.
yeah. I mean, in general, since we tracked it live, since like I said, we don't individually track. It all just kind of, we're not doing DI either. So like we're miking our amp cabinets and like playing in a bigger room. So it's like we kind of want it to sound live. So like I feel like that is why it kind of sounds like kind of more roomy and open, because we're trying to kind of make it sound like what it sounds like in our studio when we're playing. Like we want it to
Right.
sound like if you go see us at a show, it should hopefully sound like the record or better than the record. That's our goal. But we kind of wanted to, it's not as meticulous or like kind of, uh, it doesn't have as much like compression on it and stuff, just because it's kind of like a live record, even though it's just a normal LP. But since we recorded it live, that's, it kind of adds to that, I feel.
Well, I feel like it was a really good decision. Uh, Taking the drums like this. Uh, so Singular Writ in chat says, I listen to metal, but not nearly as much as I would if people did their own thing in it. Lyrically and sound-wise, you guys are just awesome. I was actually compelled to check out Chat Pile via the Flintzer because of the album art. Oh, hey, that's a perfect fucking segue, because guess what we're talking about next?
Nice.
So we got your album art up on stream now. You guys had this interesting album art convention where you have like this big border around like almost like a postcard or whatever of like a thing. On the dungeon, there's a sign saying "Hot dogs cause cancer," and on "Remove your skin," there's a sign hanging on a guardrail talking about Jesus. So why have the border being the same for every album? Why the picture? Like, why doing the art in this direction?
Yeah, when we first did this Dungeon Earth, the first EP, so our bassist, he does most of like our like art direction, I would say. But like and we all just kind of like stuff when it's, kind of uniform, or it kind of just came up naturally. Like when we did the second EP, where it's like, well, wouldn't it be cool to like just kind of use that same kind of template and just do like a different color with like a different photo? And like, what if we just did that? It was kind of just, it seemed like it could maybe be a cool idea just to kind of have our art be very uniform. And like, so eventually, if people know who we are and they see that album cover or anything, if it looks like that, they go, oh, that's probably a Chat Pile thing, because all of our stuff kind of looks like that, just it's like a different color or photo. But yeah, with this Dungeon Earth, that photo is just of a billboard that is down the street from where we play at, and it's torn down now. But
The
so
billboard
like,
or the place you play at?
so no, the billboard, like that billboard's still there, but it's like they ripped down the "Hot dogs cause
Oh,
cancer"
that fucking
sign.
sucks.
But it's just like that's like a mile away from where we record. And then yeah, the one for "Remove Your Skin Please" is just off this like kind of drainage ditch about a mile and a half away from where we play. And then yeah, God's Country, that art is the Oklahoma County Jail in downtown Oklahoma City. That is also just like down the street from where we all live and work, and we record and stuff. So we wanted it to be kind of like hyper local in that way, and like have kind of a uniform aesthetic of like, I don't know, I feel like we're a very urban band is kind of what I feel like. Like we like the aesthetics of like, strip malls and like seeing an oil derrick just like next to a school with like a porta potty there. It's just,
Like,
you know what I mean?
crippled
Like
infrastructure and
yeah,
stuff.
I mean, I feel like that's definitely like a theme kind of with our music, just about our music kind of being about like American horror and stuff.
Right,
I
right.
feel,
America kind of like falling apart or whatever.
yeah. So, Oklahoma City is a good window into that, as a place that is, a lot of ugly infrastructure. And yeah, so it was, it was our bassist. He really like, it was his kind of idea to do that kind of uniform style. And he's the one that designed the template. He takes the photos. So all of our photos that
Oh,
are in our
okay.
stuff is all taken by him on a film camera. And yeah, he does most of our like flyer. If anyone ever sees our flyers and stuff, most of the time he's the one that does all of like he does a lot of collage work and stuff, which is cool. I don't have like a visual eye at all. That's like I put all my points went into music, you know, like I just don't have any like any other like brain capacity for other creative stuff. But yeah, I think it was a good choice too. I mean, like I said, I like that eventually, hopefully, if you know, we put out another thing and we'll definitely use that template again, you know, people just start to see that kind of like coherent visual style. And like, you know, even it's a weird band to bring up, but you know, like Weezer does like, you know, a different color for each one, and it's like them over, you know, so it's like you just know what it is if you see it, you know, like you don't even have to read it to know what it is, you know. So I think that's like a cool kind of way to do that.
Talking about like bad infrastructure and stuff, though, I totally thought this was a electric plant and not a jail. So
it's kind of like so it has like there is like the transformers right there. So that's like on a street in like the center of Oklahoma City called Classen. It's like a main road, and like when you're driving up right there, there is that like all the transformers right there, but that like big building behind it, it's, you know, like a couple blocks behind it, that is like
the big brown building's the jail.
That's the jail, which it's like it's one of the worst jails in America. Like they torture inmates there, and it's awful. It's just a terrible place. And
sounds so like every jail in America.
Yeah, for real. It is just like, I don't know, the choice to put that on the cover, it was kind of just like, especially with the title being God's Country, and there's just like, you know, the really ugly power transformer stuff, and then a porta potty there in the jail, and it just says, I know it's like kind of an ironic title, but you know, we just felt like it fit, you know, with God's Country and what we were trying to make the album about, that it just seemed appropriate to...
The more I'm talking with you about it and like looking at it and stuff, it does fit really well. At first I was kind of thinking, this is kind of weird that it's like, you know, like I'm not sure how much it really fits with the music and stuff, but yeah, after like breaking it down and stuff, this makes a lot more sense. So yeah, I think that's a really...
It is also just like hyper local though. So I mean, it's not, you know, most people that see it are not going to know what it is. It's just going to look like the Transformers and just a random building. You know, if you don't know what that is the Oklahoma County Jail, like, you know, it wouldn't really, you know, it just looks like a building. So
right, but then you have like a reaction like what I just had whenever you find out about it. You're like, oh, that's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, we've always just kind of wanted to keep it like kind of hyper local, and I guess it's kind of worked, even though more people are listening to it outside of where we live and stuff. I think maybe people just kind of dig that we're kind of leaning into it being so kind of specific to where we're from. You know, it's like we're kind of, you know, trying to embody that a little bit. But yeah, so that definitely is informs the art, visually at least, for sure.
Well, another aspect of your art is Slaughterhouse, real quick. What is this an actual fast food restaurant, first of all, at the very beginning?
Yeah, I don't want to say what their name is.
Oh, why not? I've been trying to figure out what it was.
I mean, it's a...
Free publicity.
Oh, no, they're terrible. They're like an evil corporation, and they're like caught up in this. Like, I mean,
so it's every fast food restaurant ever.
Yeah, it's just a local place. Like, if they're a barbecue restaurant, and that's like on one of the busiest areas in this northern suburb. That's like super conservative and stuff. So like but yeah, they have that cross like in front of the barbecue restaurant. It's like a giant cross.
So it's in front of the barbecue restaurant. It's not just on like the strip malls, like.
No, it's like right in front of the. Yeah, it's like for the barbecue restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but they're like a terrible place. But I just mainly don't want them to like fucking contact us and be like, take that video down.
Right,
you know.
Right. Well, like, also people could. Like,
that's why we covered it up. We covered it up like the logo and stuff.
I'm sure someone's figured it out by now. Like they had to have. You know?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone is, again, it's another kind of part of it being hyper local, because like if you're from Oklahoma City, everyone knows that's from Oklahoma City what that building is. But yeah, it's very specific to just here. But yeah, we had some friends make this for us. They did both this video and the Wicked Puppet video. Our friend Lane and his partner and this actress and the other people that did the actor in the other video. But yeah, they just there's some people that do really cool art stuff around town here, and they make music and videos and all kinds of stuff. So we just wanted to have them, just have another kind of local connection that way.
So were you present for the filming and stuff?
No, they did this all.
Okay, I had so many notes. I had so many questions about this video, honestly. But
they basically were we kind of just were like, we trusted them because they're like, I don't know, they're cool weirdos, and like, I feel like we're weirdos, and their sensibilities I feel like is kind of mixed with ours. So they were just like, yeah, I think we're gonna do some stuff with blood. And where they were like, we're gonna go to the barbecue restaurant and go to the cross, and we're like, oh no, that sounds cool. And then they just like sent us this, and we were like, honestly, like I don't even think we made them do anything else. They just like kind of sent us this video, and we were like, fuck yeah, this is good. So
well, I
love the glitchy
stuff. Wonder though, because she puts the blood on, right? And then she immediately starts building this cross. And she goes around a lot with that twine. Like, there's a lot of passes. Like, how long was she sitting there just, like, doing twine around this cross while she has all this blood on her? Right? And then she goes carrying the cross through town. And you see cars pass her.
Yeah,
and
no,
she's
and that
covered
is,
in
like,
blood with this cross or whatever. Like, there's got to have been, like, the cops had to have been called at least once, right?
Yeah,
like,
I have no idea, because this is just, like, in the city on, like, the north side, where, again, like, it's still in the same kind of, couple mile radius of where we all live and work and stuff. And I also had wondered the same thing, like, did the cops come by, or like, because she's just like covered in blood carrying a cross. I mean, you're just seeing like, it's very, but no, I like how both videos turned out. I probably like the Wicked Puppet one a little more, just because it's even more, I feel like, insane in some ways with like the 3D graphics in it. But yeah, both videos I think turned out pretty well.
I think this one's the best one, and I love this so much. Like, fucking knocked it out of the park, dude.
Yeah, it's super intense.
While this keeps playing, what are your plans for the future with Chat Pile? You guys, like, you said you had a couple shows coming up. What about afterwards? Like, any tours planned or anything like that?
Yeah, so right now we're not doing much this month. We're taking a little break, and then we play a few shows next month, and then we do a little mini East Coast. We're doing like a couple nights in New York City, and one in Philly, and one in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, with Planning for Burial. And Scarcity, which is an awesome band, both bands on the Flintzer. Scarcity is like a super sick, like kind of like avant-garde black metal band. So we're doing those.
Interesting that you guys, like, do y'all play a lot of like more country areas like that? Because Wilkes-Barre is kind of like pretty country.
The reason we're doing that, so we're going and we're playing New York City and Brooklyn, and then so Planning for Burial, the it's a one-man band. Tom, he lives in Wilkes-Barre. So we're going to go from New York City to Wilkes-Barre and play with him in his town. And then he's going to come with us to Philly, and we're going to play another show with him there. And then we're going to go back to New York City. So it's kind of just like a weird little like drive out. I mean, I think people will come. It should be fun.
No, that's sick. I was actually trying to like get Wilkes-Barre for like a tour I was just on actually, but
I guess there's a scene there, and like I said, he's based there, and so I'm down. We're just going to do a little triangle. And then, after that, we have like a fest in Texas, and we're doing some stuff with Ken Mode. But just, we don't do a ton of like super long tours. We probably never will. I mean, it depends.
Dude, you totally should. Y'all would fucking kill it on like.
I think the main thing that we'll probably end up doing is like, we'll do more of these like six dates. And take some time off and do like most of the fests and stuff, like try and get on, Psycho Las Vegas or Oblivion Access or stuff like that. Just try to get on to like the metal and hardcore fests, see if we can go around or whatever fests. Cause that's like kind of easier for us just cause since we do kind of have day jobs and stuff, and it would be nice to quit the day jobs. We'll see. I mean, it's hard to say at this point. We are going to try and ramp up more next year. And I mean, if it's just, there's not, I hate to make it a money thing. There's just not a lot of money, even like if people are listening to your band and if you're splitting stuff 4 ways, and, it's just like, it's
Seems like y'all
it's
should be pretty close, but I guess you're further.
it's
away
it's
than
just
I thought you
hard.
are.
I mean, the way that you have to do it if you go all in is you start doing like, you know, 40-day tours, 2 months. And it's just we're just I don't think that's something we want to do. We're all a little, I mean, I mentioned to you before the show started, but I'm the youngest person in the band and I'm 32. So like I feel like if we were all like 20, 21 and this was happening like 10 years ago, uh it would be easier just to like say fuck it, let's just go all in. It's like, we're still all in terms of like, writing and wanting to like make stuff for people, and we want to do good performances, but it might be a thing where we're not really a band that plays a ton of dates. So if we come to your town, you should come, because it's who knows when we'll be back, because unless you're in Texas, which we go to Texas a lot because it's close, like, if we come to Chicago or we come out west or the southeast, like you should definitely just come, because it might be a few years before we come back to play a place a second time.
Okay.
But,
That's kind of
you never
fair. I
know.
get you got like some adulting.
Yeah, it's just, you don't really plan to have like, we've all been in bands for a million years that never did anything, that no one cares about, and like you just don't really expect in your 30s, like, oh, now all of a sudden a whole bunch of people care about my band, and like you just don't really like, it's hard to like fit that into your life when you already have one, like fit being a professional musician in, it's just
Right. Oh, I'm sure you also have like families and stuff like that y'all
yeah.
have to like,
But listen, I don't like my job, so like I would love to have my main job be playing in Chat Pile. That sounds great. But it's hard to read the future. We'd love to do as much as we can, but it's hard out here to make a living off of art, so
I got you, man.
We'll see.
Got you. You were talking about your writing a record now. I'm assuming that's something you're planning for 2024, right?
It'd probably be closer to 24. Yeah, I don't, we're starting to write stuff again right now. But yeah, I wouldn't anticipate it to come out soon, because we literally just put one out, and we're at the very beginning stages of working on a couple songs right now. And we just had, when you write an album, you don't, I mean, I'm sure lots of people don't just have like, there was 9 songs on the record. We didn't just work on 9 things. There was stuff that didn't really work, or like, stuff that, we had lots of extra stuff. So we kind of are pulling from that and then writing some new stuff. And yeah, we're just gearing up to start getting into writing the second LP. Because yeah, I mean, we still haven't been a band for that long, so it's not like we're out of ideas. Like, we have
well, you finished this album
in
what? You did this album in like 6 months or whatever, like, so
yeah, start to finish.
We're gonna get an album finished in another 6 months, man. Like, thinking about, right?
Yeah. We'll see. It's also just, it was also during COVID when this stuff is happening, and it's all been very weird to try and coordinate all this. And but now, I said before, we're kind of, since the album came out, we're kind of wanted to take a little break from just like, we're not going to play any shows in August, and then now we're getting back into writing and practicing and stuff like that for these shows coming up. And then yeah, we'll see what happens next year. We want to do a lot more next year. I will say that, maybe not a lot more in terms of like what a lot of bands do, which is like play a shitload of shows. But like for us, we will probably play a lot more than we usually do next year, I would imagine.
Okay.
So yeah.
That'd be sick. J-Ro in chat says, when the album dropped and the hype took off, those first EPs sold out. Any talk to make them available again?
They should be, at least one press is coming up on Reptilian. So both that vinyl comp of the first 2 EPs has been sold through Reptilian. So I would just go to their website. It might be sold out right now. Don't go on Discogs and buy it scalped, because I know some people are scalping them. Like, there will be another press of that on Reptilian. I know that the order's in. But I would just check there if you're trying to find those, because like I said, people are selling them on Discogs and stuff. But
How much they
don't
selling
don't
them for on Discogs?
more than $20, which is like you should, like
Dude, I feel
don't buy it for like 50 or $60 if that's what people are selling those for. Like there will be another pressing of those on Reptilian, so just check out for those. Yeah,
I like that y'all keep pressing stuff.
yeah, no, I would like for everyone who wants to buy it to be able to buy it and not have to spend a ridiculous amount of money on something just because it's out of print.
Right. So you guys have played a lot of shows. What's the best show you played?
It's between two, I would say. We played a house show with Portrayal.
Damn, dude, that would
in October last year, and it was like out of a movie. Like I'm not trying to like hype it up too much, but I mean, people were like climbing up the stairs and like
house had to have been so packed. Holy shit.
It was insane. If you go on our Instagram, you can like we have like our saved highlights, and there's one for that house show that we've just like kept up because we were like tucked in the corner and stuff. The first song we started with our song Face, which is the first song on our first EP, which is like one of our more kind of like hardcore sounding songs. And this dude who's like right next to me has like super long hair. He like headbangs, like literally like first 3 seconds of the first song, his hair gets caught in my guitar.
Nice.
And like he like literally like I'm trying to get it out and I'm like still playing, and then he just ends up ripping his hair out, and it's just like fuck yeah. And it's like like after the song I was like, dude, are you okay? He's like, yeah, this is great.
He's got blood running down his face.
It was like it was crazy though. Like it was a really good set, and like people were going crazy, and yeah, it was just packed in this house in Austin. It was wild. Like it was either that show or we played a show in Kansas City, which is the last show that we did on this little tour in May. We did with Bummer and Nerver, and both Bummer and Nerver are from Kansas City, so it was kind of like a homecoming show. And that was like there was a lot of people there, and like the front man for Bummer like was like doing the worm on stage during our set and stuff, and like there was like fucking 50 stage dives and stuff. It was just like the crowd was like very participating, I guess. So that was a really fun one. But yeah, one of those two I would say would be probably the Austin show, just because it definitely was like something out of a movie. It felt like I was just like, holy shit, this is like not even the crazy show I've played, but like one of the crazy shows I've like been to. I would say it was fucking wild.
Tight. Holy shit.
It was really
fun. What about your worst show?
Luckily, we haven't had a ton. I mean, beyond the normal stuff of just like breaking a string or something. Probably the worst was like a local show where we were still, because we play with acoustic drums live, like just a normal drum kit live, but we were at the beginning doing the electric kit live. Maybe one day we'll go back to it, but we played a local show, and it's a spot that we there's not a ton of places in Oklahoma City that have like the type of music we play, like, so there's only a few places you're going to get booked that, for like an actual venue, like, there's like DIY stuff, but so this venue, it's all right. I don't really love playing there because I don't really pay locals, and like it's just it's kind of just a pain in the ass. But we went there, and like as soon as we are getting ready to like get on stage, the sound guy's like, whatever your amps are at, set them to like 90% lower. Like before we even, and
one
it's
of
like,
those
okay.
places, okay.
And like we had the electronic drums. He's like, wait, what's all this? And like he just like instantly was like giving us like a super hard time. And he was like, he had like some helper with him that he was like screaming at. And I was just like, man, what the fuck? And then we play, and then like everyone in the crowd afterwards, it's like, you guys were like, we could like talk normally over you guys. Like it was so quiet. And then like the next band comes on, and I guess they were friends with the sound guy, and they sound like a fucking arena show. Like it sounded amazing. So it's just like, oh no, this guy just like totally just like iced the shit out of us for like no reason. This was like, in 2019, it was probably maybe like our third or fourth show. That's probably the biggest thing that sticks in my mind is like that sound guy just like kind of like for some reason purposely kind of fucking us. But other than that, I mean, it's mainly just, we've been pretty lucky that the worst shows that we've had have just been like, I break a string and that's frustrating, or, a couple mess ups or something. But luckily there hasn't been any true nightmares. I mean, I've been pretty blessed with that. I used probably the worst thing I've actually had in any band. I used to be in this indie rock band like 10 years ago, and we played a fest in Tulsa and just got heckled the entire time by one guy. Because like I guess I wasn't as confident playing live then, but I mean I wasn't like, just like I didn't look scared or anything, but he just like kept being like, "Stop looking at your pedals. Look at the crowd. You suck." Just
fuck?
like, yeah, it was like this free fest in downtown Tulsa, and like, yeah, this guy just like was very mad that I was not like more performative while playing our boring indie rock music. So that was probably the actual worst I've gotten. Just like some guy just screaming at me. But yeah, pretty lucky so far. There's plenty of time for for some bad shows to happen, but hopefully we only play good shows from here on out.
Well, fingers crossed, man.
Yeah.
So as far as merch goes, you got vinyl available on your Bandcamp. The fourth pressing is what it says, which is pretty awesome. I don't know how many that means exactly. Is that like what 250 per pressing, or?
I think it might be like 500.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
It's been awesome. Like, yeah, fourth pressing is happening. I don't have any merch here with me because all of our stuff of these are at our studio or with the Flintzer, which is in San Francisco. But yeah, for merch, we just have plenty of stuff on nowflensing.com or on our Bandcamp. And yeah, just shirts and
I got the whole list
stuff
right here, baby.
Yeah.
We got vinyl, we got CDs, tapes, shirts, hoodies, flags, totes. All at chatpile.bandcamp.com. Also, I guess Flintsing is the name of the site?
Yeah, it should be Now Flensing.
Now Flintsing
is the website for the Flintzers for their store. And we also, if you see us live, we usually bring stuff that like isn't sold in our web stores. So if you ever come see us, we usually have shirts that either are smaller run, or we usually do tie dyes like once a year. We'll do like a run of tie dyes that we all tie dye ourselves, and it takes like 10 hours to do. So usually, yeah, if you come to a show, we'll have stuff that isn't for sale online and stuff. But
you all screen print them yourself too after tie dye?
No, that would be that we've kind of talked about, like maybe that would be another step that we could make. But there's just a local guy that we use, at least for like the ones that we bring with us on tour. And then the Flintzer, the stuff that you buy through their web store, they are now in charge of that merch. So they are in charge of getting that taken care of and shipped out. But
I guess we can wrap this up with your current album of the year.
Yeah, really good year so far, I would say. There's been a couple things like I know everyone really liking the Soul Glow album. I loved that. For me though, Gospel, The Loser, that album, Gospel is one of my favorite bands ever. Their first album since like 2005, just awesome.
I think I know who you're talking about, but I'm not completely sure.
Yeah, definitely. If you haven't heard that record, it is like their first one. It's hard to describe because it's like somewhere in between like 70s prog rock and like 2000s post-hardcore, and like it's just like a super cool mix. But yeah, The Loser by Gospel is probably for me right now, either that or Artificial Brain's new album. They're like a death metal band. They're my favorite.
Dude, I know who Artificial Brain is.
Yeah. They're my favorite modern death metal band, and that new album is fucking sick. Labyrinth Constellation is like one of my favorite records ever. So I was really looking forward to that. And that's their last album with Will, their vocalist. They now have a new guy.
Oh, really?
They do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Will's in another band that just, I wish I could remember the name of that band. He did stuff with Afterbirth though. All that like kind of Long Island death metal that's going on, or brutal death metal. But yeah, the Gospel, The Loser, or Artificial Brain, self-titled, both super awesome. Definitely. I mean, neither are really like Chat Pile.
I was gonna say, I'm surprised you're into like Artificial Brain type of stuff.
Oh yeah, no, I mean death metal. honestly, like death metal and hip hop are like the two main things I listen to.
Really? Okay.
I mean, I listen to a ton of noise rock and like alt rock and hardcore and stuff. But these days, if I'm listening to music, because I've kind of been not in a listening mode, just because when we're writing and like when we're like going super hard on the band stuff, it's kind of hard for me to like want to listen to music. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I'm the same way.
Yeah,
I'm a big podcast guy.
Yeah, podcasts, or I've just been like watching like trash TV and stuff, just like trying to like veg out. But yeah, if I the stuff I keep up with is like death metal specifically or hip hop for some reason. It's just like the things that I've stuck with the longest.
Is there ever going to be a time where y'all put in a hip hop beat in the chat pile?
Probably not. Dude, that's not
how
really.
Sick that would be though. As like
it's
breaking a song.
Maybe the closest we would get would be like some more like electronic industrial stuff, because we're big like Nine Inch Nails fans and stuff like that. Like I could see maybe like working that in some way, but like once we start adding the hip hop, that's like we really just fully are becoming a new metal band at that point. Like we're just becoming Slipknot if we have a turntable, like. And I don't know if I'm ready to fully transition into
you shouldn't go full turntable. You don't go full like new metal, but I get a little bit of a rap beat.
Yeah, the one weird genre that we've talked about trying to mix in is that like we're all like kind of fans of like dub stuff, so like dub or like old reggae and ska, and so like we're not really gonna like mix that in, but we've been like threatening to try and find a way to like slip some like dub influence into something. Which it can be done. I mean, like at least with like modern stuff. I mean, I really love that Glassjaw EP coloring book, which has like a ton of like dub influence. I would love to be able to like kind of crack that code, but there's just it's really easy for that to be corny. I feel like it's a thin line there. Like if you do it the wrong way, it's just like super corny. So who knows what we'll we'll throw in eventually, but I don't know about hip hop.
Well, is there anything else you want to say before we get on out of here?
Not really. Just I'm so grateful that anyone cares to listen to our stuff or hear me talk about it. So thanks for having me on, and thanks to anyone who has been listening to our stuff or sharing our stuff. And come see us if we come to your town. We try to be entertaining, and we want to try and put on a good show. So just trying to do the thing, and hopefully people dig it. And I'm just it's just been very crazy lately, the hype cycle. So trying to stay grounded with it and just have a good time playing weird music. So
oh yeah, man. So if you're looking for an extremely original take on heavy music, you need to check out God's Country, the debut album from Chat Pile, which dropped back in July through the Flintzer. You guys are on Facebook, Bandcamp, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and all streaming platforms. I guess you could pick up some merch from nowflintzing.com. And is there another like website or anything like that you're trying to send people to?
Yeah, you can go to chatpile.bandcamp.com. Just Bandcamp or the Flintzer website. It's like the best way to get our stuff. And then, like I mentioned earlier, for our first EPs, Reptilian Records, their website, they will sell those. So just those.
Okay. As for me, drop my channel follow so you always know when I go live. You can also sub to get access to the interviews before YouTube and streaming platforms, as well as get some exclusive platform. You can also do that for free by attaching Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. YouTube folks, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like, click on the notification bell. Don't forget to subscribe. It's a great way to support me for free. Check out my music, The Sound That Ends Creation, at thesoundthatenscreation.bandcamp.com. My next guest is I didn't put it on here, so that is awesome. My next guest is The Wind in the Trees, which will be pretty awesome. Dropped a new album, I believe, back in July. But join us this, and the date's wrong too. Awesome. Join us this Wednesday the 24th at 7 p.m. Central for the live cast. Thanks for being here, Luther. Hope you had a good time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I did. Well,
absolutely.
Anytime. Hit me up.
Hell yeah. And thank you guys for watching and listening.